gang, check the mic. Alright, Blender crew. It's me, and it's Tater Tot, and we're gonna do a little geometry noting. This is Tater Tot. Thank you. Thank you. He thinks my hat is nice. And thank you. Thank you so much. I think my hat is nice too. Okay. Alright. Today, this is something I don't normally do. But you can hear me. You can see me. And I'm gonna maybe talk about Blender and talk about my process, or whatever this is. If you could call it a process. And we're gonna make something that I think a lot of people are sort of interested in. I know it's a visual that kind of attracted me when I was starting out, and it's sort of been something that it's kind of hard to achieve in Blender, but I say that as if I know how to do it in any other software, because I don't. But I just imagine, I've tried this technique a lot, and I'm not like a master of geometry nodes by any means, but from what I've seen, it just seems like this is a little bit easier to do in other software, maybe. But yeah, I'm kind of done ranting, and I will start showing you, or I don't know, talking about this thing that I'm gonna make. Okay, so I am going to open up Blender. I'm gonna start a new scene, and yeah, so we're here in Blender, and I'm using version 4.1. Okay, and basically I'm gonna hit A and then hit X, and I'm gonna delete everything. Then I'm gonna hit Shift A, and I'm gonna import a UV sphere, and that's kind of all I need right now. Actually, I need two UV sphere. No, okay, actually, yes, I just need one UV sphere, and I also need a plane. I'm gonna rotate that plane and scale it up a little bit. And this plane here, I just really want to see the outline of it, so in the viewport, I'll just kind of come over here and select wire. So now I just kind of see the outline, and that's nice. And for this sphere here, this is where the excitement is going to happen, in my opinion. And so I've opened up geometry nodes here, and I'm going to apply a new geometry node setup to this sphere. And I'm going to call this, it knitting digitally. Boy. And it's knitting, hey kitty. Alright, so knitting digitally boy. And we have our group input, and we have our group output. And yeah, this is going to be where the stuff happens. It's going to happen in between here, okay? And so, gosh, I'm just trying to think where to start. Okay, first I will start out with, first we want to instance. I want to turn this sphere, and I want to make it look like it's been knitted, like it's out of yarn, or I don't know, string. And the first thing I need to do would be then to create something that looks like knitted loops, knitted stitches, and then I need to instance that onto this sphere, and I need to instance it in a very specific way so that it looks visually appealing. And so that's what we're going to do in this first step. So I don't really need to see this sphere currently, and I want to see kind of a top-down view, so I'm going to hit 7 on my keyboard, then I'm going to hit Shift-A, and I'm going to import a Bezier curve. I'm going to kind of zoom in on it. And this is going to be our knitted loop. So I'm going to just kind of manipulate these vertices here for a few until I get kind of what I think looks like a knitted loop. I'm going to add in some subdivisions to get some more vertices. And these bottom two, I want to be fairly close to each other, but I also want them to like kind of rotate in here, because you'll notice on, like if you look at knitted stitches or something like that, the one stitch leads into the next stitch, and so I kind of want this section here to sort of lead into the next one as if there were two. Okay, so it's important that down here we create this kind of rotation or this kind of curve, and I think this is okay starting out. I don't want these handles to be overly long. Okay. So this kind of looks like a loop, a knitted loop stitch thing. You could imagine these stacked beside each other, and this is kind of like how an object is knitted. It kind of winds up looking like this thing runs into this thing, and then there's rows of them like this. So we're going to use geometry nodes to kind of do that. But first we need a loop, and so I'm just going to click up here and call this our loop. And yeah, that's nice. I'll kind of turn it off for now. Come back to our sphere. And now I want to instance that loop onto our sphere. Okay, let's try to do that. In geometry nodes, we can hit Shift-A, we can type in instance, and we can instance on points with this node right here. So immediately you're going to see our sphere disappear. And we have to do some things. We have to tell Blender what to instance on this sphere. And starting out, I actually just want to do a curve circle, okay? And then I want to, you'll notice once I do this, it's kind of chaotic looking, but I'll make this a little bit smaller. And you will notice that we've just instanced a bunch of circles onto all the points of this UV sphere. And it's going to look better if we fill them first. Okay, so now they have a kind of a face to them. I'll make them a little bit bigger. Okay, and this is okay, but we need these to be kind of like respecting the normals of this sphere. And what I mean by that is if we were to turn geometry nodes off and every face here on this geometry, this is a face, and this is a face, and this is a face, okay? They all have what is called a normal, and so a normal is kind of just, it would be like the direction of the face pointing outwards. So the direction of this face is this way, okay? The direction of this face would be kind of this way. The direction of these faces up top would be kind of up here, and so on. This one kind of pointing out here. This face would be kind of pointing out here, okay? And so these spheres are not kind of respecting the normals of this object, because if they were, then they would all kind of be placed on here in a more seamless way, they kind of almost create the sphere itself and all the faces. They would just appear as we want them. So we need these instances, these instances to respect that. And we'll get to that in a second because Tater Tot is going to help us out. Hey, buddy. Yeah. Is my hat nice? It's nice. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Check the microphone. Yeah, I think you can hear me. Yes, you can. That'd be so bummed. Student GeoNode an hour an hour 3. Hi everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna continue here in a second, but Tater Tot's in my way. So what I want to do is I want to have all these circles respect the normals of this object, of this sphere, and we can do that. So I will so we need to get the normal. Shift A, type in normal. Okay, and we need to then bring in an, I believe it's align Euler to vector. Okay, we need to plug the normal into the vector, set this to Z, and plug the rotation into the rotation here. And you'll notice that now these curved circles that are then kind of filled so that they have a face. So if I remove this, they don't have a face. But if I add this back on, you'll see now they have a face. Now they are kind of respecting the faces normals from our original sphere. And that's good. And we can scale them. Okay. And I like this already. It's kind of like halfway there, sort of. We have a problem, though. There are just way too many spheres right here. If we were to look at like knitted objects, as a knitted object kind of closes in on itself, there tends to be less loops, less knits, less knots. And in this instance, if we were to look at this, this is not the case with this object. But we need that to be the case. And we can do that with geometry nodes, which I really like. So we can just go and add a search for merge by distance. Okay, we can plug that in here right before we instance them. And now the higher up we set this number, the more Blender will start to merge these points. So right away, this looks kind of nice. It's a little weird right here. Maybe we can get a better spread of stuff here. So I think that's all right for now. But this is kind of nice because you'll notice as this object kind of comes in on itself, we are instancing less and less spheres. And so next, let's replace these these circles with our loop. Okay. So I'll just kind of disconnect these. Oops. And I'll go ahead and just remove them actually. Okay. And now I want to bring this loop in. So I'll come up here. I'll grab our loop. And this is what I'll instance. Okay. And so immediately it's going to be maybe a little bit too big, so I'll scale it down. Okay, there we go. And now we need to give these loops kind of mesh, because they don't really look like anything yet. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do curve to mesh. Bring in a curve to mesh node. and then it's going to ask us what kind of profile we want to use for all these curves. And I will use a curved circle. Okay. And make this a little bit smaller. And then for performance reasons, I'm going to set the resolution of this kind of pretty low, maybe like 4 or 5, just for now. And so this is looking okay. This might be a little thick. Let's set these down a hair. And I think it's going to look better if we actually if we were to subdivide this geometry. So let's go ahead and subdivide it. But still keeping in mind that the closer we get to the top, we want to have less and less of this object. So I'm going to mess with these settings kind of back and forth until I get something that looks kind of like it would be a knitted hat maybe, or like a knitted ball, maybe like if you're familiar with what's called like a hacky sack, something like that. So yeah, I think we're there, and kind of cool. Now I want to kind of, like we have this kind of issue here where they're kind of just intersecting one another, and there's a way to kind of alleviate that a little bit. We can just add some rotation here to this parameter, I guess. So we can just go ahead and hit Shift A and bring in a math node. Okay, it doesn't need to be a vector math because right now we're just kind of dealing with we're not dealing with vectors. So I can just bring that in, hit add. Actually, we are dealing with vectors. What am I thinking? So we need to bring in, yes, a vector math node. Okay. Nope, not that. Okay, vector math. Now we can add, we can decide whether or not we want to add to the rotation X, Y, or Z. And I think one of, maybe, yeah, I'm thinking this. This is going to help, maybe a combination of the two. So we, that looks a bit better, I think. A little bit more believable. Let's see. This is before, kind of very obviously intersecting, and then after they kind of are a little bit less. Okay, and from right here, like from a distance, it looks really nice. I'm sure up close you might see some of that, but let's keep pushing. So okay. All right, now the next thing we want is we want to use this plane object, and we want to use it to control we want to use its distance from our knitted sphere. I will rename this over here, and I'll call it our knitted sphere now. Okay. And yeah, so I want to take this plane. I'm going to scale it up a little bit. And I'm actually going to call it a controller, essentially, because it's going to control pretty much everything in this animation. So I want to bring that plane into our geometry node setup. Okay, so I'll grab it, I'll drag it into here, and I'll set it to relative. And I want to use the proximity of this geometry. So we have a node for that. It's called geometry proximity. And plug this in, the geometry, into the geometry. And I want to take the distance from this plane and the distance, so it'd be the distance from basically this object to the plane, okay? And I want to use that to control the trim paths of these curves, okay? So let's first bring in our trim path node. So if you're familiar with After Effects, that's where I first ran into that term trim, was trim paths in After Effects, and it just allows you to kind of control the start and end point of a line, and yeah, that's what it does exactly as well in Blender. I think it's actually called trim curve in Blender. Curve, yeah, okay. And so you'll notice if I bring this here and I attach it to our geometry node setup and I trim our curve, okay, we are basically, each one of these instances are kind of drawing on from start to end. And we can control it using this, okay? And that's kind of what I want, but I need them, I don't want them all individually to do that. I need them to do that sort of as a whole, and not only as a whole, but in relation to this plane, okay? And we can do that, but first we have to realize all of these as instances. Currently it's just looking at this as like one big piece of geometry or something, I guess. And realizing instances, let's do that. So Blender has to say, hey, these are not instances anymore, okay? Now they are, or wait, they are, well, they are instances, but we are going to affect them individually now, instead of as a whole, okay? So right away, it messes with our curve circle radius a little bit, but we can just kind of bring that down. Maybe point oh, 0.03? No, too much, okay. 0.02. 0.015. Okay. Okay, so now that we've realized these instances, it's still going to do that, okay? But actually it might be better to show before and after. So I'm going to set up our plane effector. First I will bring in a color ramp. Put that here. And then plug this into here. Actually, okay, yeah, just normal color ramp. Yeah, I think that should work, maybe. Okay, no. Yes, so actually, yes, let me try to realize it now. And then let's do this. No. Okay, map range. Is that a map range in here? Aha, okay, this is gonna, this will be what does it. So now, as I move this, yeah, we're kind of writing all of these on, okay? And without this, it would just kind of do everything all at once, right? So it's still treating them as this whole object as one, all of these as one, okay? But once we realize these instances, okay, now it's saying, oh, I will trim each one of these individually based on their individual distance from the plane, okay? So that's nice. So I'm from here just going to animate this plane first off. So I'll come here to our timeline. I'll set a keyframe here. I'll hit I on my keyboard. And then I'll come here to like 120, and I'll move my plane closer to our sphere until it's fully trims these curves on, okay? And then I'll set another keyframe, and I will trim my work area. Okay. Alright. So now we've got this. That's kind of cool, but I think we can add to it. So basically, this is going to be kind of controlling like how much is being written on. You can kind of mess with these parameters to get a certain visual. I like kind of what I had before here, where you can kind of see the action occurring. I like that. And then you could even add some randomness to this by just like bringing in another math node, okay, boom, and then bringing in a random value, okay, and then adjusting these parameters, and this might get you some kind of interesting visual as well. Yeah, so I'm not sure, maybe. Maybe another map range actually would look better if I were to do this. Besides the point. Okay. Okay. So we have this animation. So I want now I want there to be like some, like I imagine if like this was happening in real life, this object with like the shape of it would be kind of being manipulated as well. It would be kind of like cloth moving around. And so we can do that as well based on this. Based on this plane, if I were to, okay, yeah, based on the distance between this plane, we can create kind of a cloth-like wave that goes through this. So what we're going to essentially be doing is kind of setting the position of all these vertices, okay? And we want to set them kind of randomly and kind of have them move about in space randomly. And we can do that using a noise texture. So first I'll bring in a set position node. And next I'll bring in a noise texture. This is immediately going to kind of look a little wacky. I think I actually might want to do this set position before I realize these instances. So let's go here and let's plug it in here, okay? I'll immediately make it smaller, and then we're also going to want to add in we're going to want to normalize this. So vector math, bring in a vector math node and add -0.5. Okay, that's better. And so now we've got some noise added, and the more I bring the noise in, okay, it's kind of moving like cloth, okay? But I only want it to kind of move like cloth in a certain range. Like, I only want it to move like cloth, like I'd imagine this area, by the time this area is all kind of been knitted on. Why is my annotation not working? Yes, I imagine by the time this area has all been knitted on, it wouldn't be kind of moving like cloth anymore. It'd be more, a little bit more solid. Okay, but I imagine all of this area, like I want all this area kind of moving and waving, very cloth-like. Okay, because this is kind of the area where the action is occurring, right? So like, I imagine that there'd be a lot of movement and energy in that area. Okay, and we've already kind of defined that area. With this map range node here, right? We've already said like, hey, here's the area where you're going to be kind of trimming this curve path on, right? So here to here. So we can use this area essentially again. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to mix it into this equation, into our set position equation. And we're going to do that just by bringing a vector math node. Set this to, bring in a vector math node, okay, set it to multiply. And we're going to take this value, plug it in here, and we're going to take this value, plug it in here, and we're going to use this to set the position, okay? So it's sort of getting there, but I want to kind of define it a little bit more. So I'll bring in maybe I'll try a color ramp at first. And I'll put that color ramp here. So now if I kind of move, okay, so we're still, I think we've kind of got to flip this. Boom. Right here. And now, yes, now I'm getting that noise kind of to occur in just that area here, okay? And I like that. That's kind of what I want. And I want this to kind of move around like that as the plane gets closer. Okay? So we can do that by changing this from a 3D noise texture, and we can change to a 4D noise texture. Okay? And then we can allow the distance from this plane, from the distance this object is from the plane, we can allow that to change this W factor, okay? And that is going to kind of like automatically, without any keyframes, create some animation for us. So I will plug that here, and it's a little bit too fast. Like it's kind of looks a little crazy. So I want to slow that down. I'll just bring in a math node, and I will divide that. And the higher up I bring this value, the slower that kind of noise is gonna occur. Okay. So that's kind of fun. And I can also add in another multiply node here, and we can change like the, how much the noise is kind of being spread out. So that's kind of cool. And now it's sort of a matter of like, okay, playing with this map range, and then playing with like how much noise and where you want that noise to occur. Okay. And I think after some experimentation, if you were to keep playing with these parameters, maybe this is kind of occurring here, and then there's more noise, but the noise is happening later. I don't know. Maybe I need to slow the noise down more. Okay, and now maybe I need to affect the trim. Yeah, so let's keep messing with these. using this technique, I've been able to get some kind of cool looking stuff. But it's a matter of kind of manipulating all this stuff and getting it to kind of act nicely together, or act in a way that's visually pleasing. This might be cool. So I think it's getting there, sort of. It's starting to look. Yeah, I think it's getting there. That's for sure. Maybe this noise is. Maybe I want maybe this needs to be like better. Like this. Sort of. I mean, kinda. It looks like just a bunch of knots coming together, but okay, I like that more. I don't know. I think I had something better like a few minutes ago, maybe. Yeah, I like this. Okay, so I'm gonna call that kind of nice for now. But the cool thing about this setup and why this is like matters, why this people should, I don't know, care. It's procedural, so you can say, hey, have less stitches, have more stitches. You know, all of this stuff, and it's all then again able to be controlled and manipulated in a way that sort of looks nicely. Especially for Blender, in my opinion. I think we can add to this even more. I think we can, like, what I'm not liking is, like, how abrupt. These lines are very sharp, so I think we can even do a, let's go ahead and bring in a set curve radius node, set curve radius, okay? And, okay, let's bring this up to kind of get back to what we were at. Okay, and then we want to take what would be, maybe it should be back here. And then we want to take the length of these, and we want to have, at the beginning we want it to be thick, and at the end we want it to be skinny, so it's more pointed, and it looks more like thread would. Maybe at the end of a piece of thread it might look, I don't know, might come to more of a point. So where was I? Yes, spline. We need to take the parameter spline We do need the length, but I think we want to use this. And we want to use a color ramp because we want to say, hey, be small on this side, be big on this side. Or maybe it might be the opposite of that. But so let's take the length, and we're going to use that to calculate our radius, I think. Yeah, okay, I think this needs to happen after we realize. So let's go here, and then let's do that. And, okay, maybe not. Center radius, length. What's happening? Oh, I think I'm using the alpha, not, yeah, okay. Yeah, so now this looks, the tips kind of start out skinny. I wonder actually if I bring this back and do that prior to realizing it. Yeah, okay, it still works. So I like that better, a little bit more. It's not, I wonder if it can go here and then do that. What does this look like? Yeah, I think this looks good. And then, yeah, you can just keep fucking with it, or keep messing, with this for hours, right? And to get the kind of desired look. But this is kind of cool, you know, something. I don't know if I like this actually. Oh, wait, what am I in? Okay, I think I need to, I'm not sure that I really like what I have here. Oh, okay, this might be a little bit better. Okay, I kind of like that. Oh wait. No, I don't like that. I think I also want to mix this within, it's, yeah, this needs to be controlled by the position of the plane as well. So this, so I need to multiply these together. Maybe. It might be this instead. Okay. I'm doing right now. I've been doing this too long. Maybe more noise. Okay, and then I don't know. That's alright. That's cool. I don't know that I like this trim thing. I'm okay with this. Maybe I'm not. I've been doing this too long. I don't know. Fuck. Dang it. Sorry. Just like a bunch of sperm growing at first. I don't like that. What is this even doing? Oh. So now I think it's a matter of just like making this look, making this start out faster, because then it won't look like that. So we are going to mess with the curves. Alright, so let's clean this A and look at these curves. Okay, so right now we're starting slow. This plane here is starting out slow. Its peak speed is here, and then it gets slow at the end. I want it to start out fast, so I want it to start out fast and then get slow. And I think that might get rid of some of the weirdness initially. Maybe even faster. Okay. Yeah. I don't want it to end faster too. Oops. I like this. Okay. And yeah, let's now maybe make like a set material, boom, and yeah, come here, new. Maybe make it like a cool orange-ish thing. Okay. And we don't want it to be shiny. And let's look at this. And Eevee, if you turn off viewport denoising, it's gonna actually render better. Like you'll see what's happening a little bit better. Yeah, so this is cool, and yeah, I think the really powerful thing about this is, okay, so we have this sphere, okay. Now let's bring in anything. I don't know. What do we want it to be knitted? It can't be too crazy of an object. Maybe this will work, maybe it won't. Let's try this guy. So we have the Mandalorian helmet. Okay. And let's join everything here. I'm gonna hide this. Merge all that geometry. And now I want to add geometry nodes to it, and I want to add our knitting boy setup. And okay, something's happened. Oh no, I think I froze my computer. Okay. I think what's happening is that this is just being subdivided, and I also think our instances are too big. Okay. Alright. And let's move this up. Let's move this down. applicable as I. This is kind of being very slow. Uh-oh. Blender just crashed. That was it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please. I need it. I need some subscribers. I think this is some valuable information. So